Hello and welcome back to another episode of FPL Journey to 10K, the podcasting series in which we look at the stats, the figures, but also delve into mind of one of the greatest players to ever play the game. That is, of course, my co-host Matt. Matt, how are you?
Hello, sir. Yeah, I'm pretty good. FPL aside, I'm good. From a fantasy point of
Yeah,
view, I'm
kept it tame
heartbroken.
there.
Heartbroken is no, that's a bit of exaggeration, but I reckon that was probably one of the worst game weeks I've had in probably 2 years from what I can
It
remember.
was a
So yeah, a tough one.
frustrating one.
But
And the move that we'll come on to it because we'll show. But I appreciate you've had a red arrow spoilers. But you've actually not dropped that much in rank.
I think it's the relative one. I made that mistake of looking at like your live FPL mid and like fixed mid game week rank, and I was like, oh, happy days. I'm at 220 now. Going to close in on the top 100k, and then obviously the Man City game really changed that for me, and there was other reasons why my moves were like frustrating, but it was funny talking to you, and just like when you were running through like what we're going to talk about just 5 minutes ago. And you were saying you were feeling frustrated. And I'm like, man, you can be relaxed and happy. Yeah.
I should be. But then you do that stupid thing that you do where you look at what points you've got, and yeah, spoilers. I'm on a green arrow, so I should be happy, and it was a decent green arrow. But then you look at the moves you made and think, I probably shouldn't have made that move, and if I hadn't, I'd be potentially another 13 points better off. But I've got no right to moan. I've got no right to moan. So yeah, we'll take it and move on. I'd big you up a bit more than that and talk about how you finished in the top 10K 6 times in the last 8 seasons and all that sort of stuff. But the reason I haven't is because I want to touch on something. We've had a question on YouTube which is linked to FPL, but kind of not. So you're one of the Elite 11 managers through Fantasy Football Fix, right? And you mentioned that you want to basically remain within their Hall of Fame, which is why that you must captain a defender next season might not work for you. But there was actually a question from K7, and he's asked, "What is the Hall of Fame rank, and how do you get into it?" So, like, how does that just behind the scenes fantasy football
Nice.
stuff, Matt? How does that sort of stuff work?
I think that it's all like a closely guarded secret, right? So I don't know is the honest answer,
Well,
but like I'll
don't get them
blag.
to. I don't
I'll,
want you getting killed off for
I'll
sharing
no,
secrets.
I'll blag my way through it. So the Fix Elite 11, I won it the first year, came second the second year, and this year I'm the worst bar one, I think, in terms of ranks. So yeah, I think things move around. I think Fix just reached out because they were just looking at people who had good ranks that used Fix as a tool. So they just reached out, and I was like, yeah, happy to do some stuff with you. The Hall of Fame stuff. So obviously, any given season, someone can have a good rank, a bad rank, or whatnot. Most of the Hall of Fames they use like average ranks over the last 5, 10 seasons, and they kind of weight the ranking towards the more recent ones. They count more for your ranking, or they look at your total points that you've scored over whatever 5, 10, 15 seasons. Again, with a bias towards the more recent seasons, they form a view of over a couple of seasons who are the top ranked managers, because you think that over time that the luck and randomness averages itself out. So I think when I started playing fantasy seriously, which was like halfway through my first season, that was like always my target, is to try and get to the top of the Hall of Fames, because like that means that over time that you're playing the best. So this is probably more of a long-winded answer than you were expecting, but I've started, so I'll finish.
Yeah.
But there's three big ones that I kind of keep an eye on. So like the OG, the original one was the Scout one, so Fantasy Football Scout. So I think the best rank I've been on that was like 5th overall, which I'm obviously kind of really happy given there's like 11 million players. I think going into the season I was ranked 10th in that one. So that was the OG. The one that I know you referenced that I was a previous number one player or whatnot, like that clickbaity title. So that one was Premier Fantasy Tools. So like long-term top player on that one was like Fabio Borges, who's like the best one in most of these rankings, to be honest. And yeah, he has better rankings than me most seasons, and a better or luckier player, probably a better player. But that one I was like top 2, top 3 for a number of years. And then like last year, for half the season. I was like top on that one, and then the final one, which I think is my favorite one, just because like it comes out every month, it gets refreshed, and then the rankings I think relate to where I think the top players are. Like you looking at people who are playing well with great scores, it normally correlates quite nicely with this one. So this is my favorite one at the moment. That is, I'll add that caveat in case I get blacklisted from the other ones. They're all good. Is FPL Research. So yeah, you can find them on like X, Twitter at FPL Research, and they just publish a rankings of their top Hall of Fame style players like every month. So I think at the moment I'm 17th on that one. So that, yeah, top 20 players. I've been the one who's dropped rankings the most because of my poor performance this year. But yeah, like there's a few out there. But like basically, yeah, it's kind of like a recognition of how you performed from a fantasy scoring point of view, fantasy rank point of view, like over a number of years, and just like kind of averages out. There's more nuance than that. That it's basically that.
You were. I think that was that last one you mentioned. You were fifth. That's what. So I used to reference that.
Yeah.
And
So
then I got wind that you were number one previously on one of the others. Was like, we'll go with that one. Sounds better.
yeah, the research one, I was third for 2 seasons. So I think kind of widely known as the top 2 players, like Fabio and then Finn Solly were like solidly 1 and 2, like quite a bit better than me. But yeah, I was happy to finish some seasons third. I think going into this season, I was 5th or 6th on that one. I think I was 5th at the beginning of this season, but I've dropped to 17th now just because like everyone else is like top 100k now, and I'm like 400k.
You're bringing it back. You're bringing it back.
But I did see something. I did see something that like because like some of the like the data geeks they look at these like Hall of Fame stuff and then like do like insights and stuff like that. So someone this weekend did like some data analysis of the top 20 FPL research players and saw their sorted by expected points. Right, so like this year, based on like the XG like outcomes and not outcomes, but XG activity that happened in all the matches. So yeah, based on that, I was like 5th, which is like that's excellent. You know what I mean? 5th out of the top 20. But I was like a guy who probably everyone who's listening knows Ben Quellen, who does the double game week spreadsheets, right? He's having a great season. I think I was like on equal expected points with it as him, but I was like underperforming my expected points by like 100. So yeah, I've had a lot of bad play. We'll talk about bad play in a second, right? But like I think I'll keep them clear. I'm clutching on that I've been unlucky this year, so it was nice to see that.
Decisions.
Expected points.
Half of those points were Jackson.
Jackson,
third of them were probably Darwin
double
Núñez.
Arsenal defense. That's the story of the season. Isn't it? That's the story of the season.
Yeah.
So, but
absolutely.
10 minutes in, and I've answered your very simple question.
That's good. It's good to just kind of hear where they come from. And for any, FPL Research was that last one that you mentioned, because I believe they do a list every month, renewed every month, the top 100,000 players in the world, based on the last.
You must be on it.
5 seasons. I was on it, which is why I bring it up. I was about 15k ish. So not quite page 1. I had to do a little bit of scrolling, a little control F to find myself. But obviously, about 15k, which I was quite happy with. Quite happy with that. Keep building.
Well, I feel like you can see how it works, right? So, like, I don't think you've had a 15k rank. I've never had a 17th rank, but you finished top 50 quite consistently, top 100k. So over time, you can see how that works. Like,
So I was quite happy with that one. I did see one, a David Saunders, that was about like 4k, and I was like, no, he was Welsh. It wasn't me. Never mind. Just a common name. But we'll move on. Have a look at where we are at, how we finished. And again, I'll try not to moan too much because I don't feel like I have the right to moan, Mass. But I'll let you decide whether you want to go first or second.
I'm really glad you asked, actually. So, like, let's innovate. Let's do something different. Like, so I can get calm and collected and kind of gather my thoughts because, devastated. So, yeah, why don't you go first, mate? 82 points.
And I'll moan.
Congrats.
Moan slightly. Yeah, I've got. I can't complain. Rarely, but I will. So, got 82 points. Which is a decent green arrow, was 380k, now up to 258, total points of 1366. Used both my transfers, but didn't cost me because I had 2 in the bank. Made my transfer what I considered late. Made both transfers on Friday evening as I was looking at potential Haaland price going up, potential cash price going down, which both did happen. And I was like, well, as we spoke last week about hanging on whether Liverpool are going to get a double game week, and if they were, you were going to do your transfers around that. Got to Friday evening, nothing had been noted, nothing had been, not even a murmur of it. And I'm like, there's only 12 days to go until the game's going to be played. There's not a chance. It's too late in the day for the fans. Did the transfers, woke up the next day, Liverpool Luton confirmed. Pre-deadline, which is the annoying thing, pre-deadline. But Haaland did go up, cash did go down. It's just annoyingly the news happened. So the reason I'm going to moan is I would have kept Darwin Núñez for a start, and I'd have benched him, and I'd have played Saka, but I wouldn't have had Haaland. So the point, it's not a massive issue for me. But the one that annoys me is I probably wouldn't have got Haaland in. So again, it's not. Yeah, it's maybe a 4 point difference. I'd have kept Solanke and captained him, so I'm not. It's not horrendous. Is the point I'm making? But still a bit frustrating because it leaves me okay, 4 points down for this game week, but also a transfer behind. So technically, I'm 8 points down from where I could be. But that's enough of my moaning. I've got a green arrow, a decent green arrow, 82 points. The defense was a load of rubbish, as most people's were this week. Dubravka with 1, Walker with 2, Gabriel with an own goal, -1, Dan Burn with conceded quite a few on -1. So my back four got me 1 point. My attack, on the other hand, was absolutely phenomenal. So plays that most people have. Palmer got an 8. Watkins got an 18. Haaland came back in for a 5. Richarlison a 15. Annoyingly, Solanke I captained and he got 2. Captain doubled to 4. Any of my other attackers picked and they would have been better, but I was pretty set. But the two that I was pretty happy with, and I'm sorry to say it, Phil Foden, I can see him there on your bench. I'll let you frustrate on that one in a second, but obviously came out with his second hat trick of his career, bringing home 20. And then I was really happy to see Gross step up. Got him in 2 weeks ago based on some stats, and he pulled out 2 assists and an assist. So game week rank of 1 million. You'll take that week in, week out. Total points of 82. And yeah, a decent green arrow dropping 120,000 places roughly. I try not to gloat too much.
Nice.
Pass it over to you.
It's nice progress, but I think you could feel frustrated. I think, like you said, because each transfer is worth 4 points, right? Holding a transfer is almost worth 4 points, right? If you think if you think a hit is -4, right? So obviously you always wanted Haaland, right? But you got rid of a double game week in Darwin, which is really frustrating, and yeah, you got rid of cash, which you needed to do, but you brought in Burn, right? So I think obviously if you knew the news, you would be, you wouldn't have done that transfer, and you certainly wouldn't be, bringing Burn in, right? You'd probably been bringing in insert Liverpool defender or Luton defender of choice, and Burn could be dropped now, right? Because I think by all accounts he had a stinker, right? And Livramento is there as an alternative, right? So difficult one there because you had that luxury of 2 free transfers going into a double, and you swap one doubler out for another, so that's par. But then in essence wasted out of one. So yeah, I can see the frustrations, and obviously Saka would have started over. You would have started him, so you're 4 points down. Not the end of the world there, but yeah, I think it's a tough one. No, you could have had easily be even higher, 200k with another transfer. So tough one.
Exactly. So, but yeah, anything where you get a million game week rank, I shouldn't feel hard done by, is what I'm saying. I should be fairly happy, and it's in the past now, right? No point in feeling frustrated. Let's see what I do with it going forward.
Exactly. So let's talk about frustrations. Yeah. So like I said, this is probably the only I don't have a great memory, so the only game week that I can compare with this is like last year. I was on a very good season, but I kind of screwed up with I hit it up Bruno Fernandes and Harry Kane because that was the game week that Bruno's wife or fiance or girlfriend posted on Instagram him in a boot. And I was like, he's injured. I'm going to jump on Salah and someone else. And I did that for a hit. And then, Bruno and Kane went mad for weeks, and Salah and whoever else I brought in didn't do well. And that was just like a stupid move. But I think I made another stupid move now. So I feel like of the most frustrating game weeks for a while for me. So the red arrow wasn't big. Yeah, I moved from 380k to 420, but like there were times of this game week on the live tracker, I think I was up to about 260 going into the Man City game. So yeah, that one kind of really kind of hit me bad. So yeah, the move I made was Darwin Núñez to Haaland, and that was based on, I was thinking Haaland was going to get 60, 65 minutes. I was quite confident with that. I was confident then that the double game week wasn't going to be announced because by all accounts it should have been announced. That Friday was the last day that it would need to be announced to kind of fit in with rescheduling requirements to notify fans, all that kind of stuff. And like, it's a stupid thing. Like, so I think Darwin was going down in price and Haaland was going up, and also like I was doing something on the Friday night, so I was like, I'm not going to get up that early, right? So I might miss the deadline, right? So I'll just do the move. Nothing's going to happen on Saturday morning, but lo and behold, obviously the double was then announced, like absolute for Liverpool was announced last minute. Yeah, I would have held Darwin for sure. So I'm one transfer down in prepping for the double game week, which is pretty annoying. But also, yeah, by bringing in Haaland for Darwin, I benched Foden. Of course, I would have benched Darwin with the injury doubt. I would have benched Darwin and played Phil Foden. So I'm losing 15 points there on that immediate transfer, and then another 4 because I'll probably have to take a hit after the double game week. So I'm 19 points down. So yeah, I would have had a score closer to 80. I'd been up to around 250, like yourself, and then looking a lot smart working into the double game week. But yeah, it's one of those things. I may even have got rid of Solanke actually, because we spoke about last game week that out of the 3 strikers, who would be the one to remove? And we said, yeah, Watkins is explosive and has some really good fixtures. Solanke has short-term tougher fixtures, good stats, but tougher fixtures. And then like Darwin, if he's got a double, you want to be keeping him, right? So I might have even got rid of Solanke if I got that. I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have rolled. But like, I like to imagine get rid of Solanke, Captain Watkins, happy days. But yeah, tough game week. But going through my team, I've got 65 points, 3.6 million game week rank. Obviously, yeah, down. Red arrow down 40k. So not the end of the world. But I've lost a lot of progress I made the last couple of weeks on other good managers. But yeah, defense. Yeah, got what's that? Yeah, kind of 2 points. So yeah, Stupinan 1, Dubravka 1, Saliba 1, Gabriel -1. Obviously, I think Gabriel is unlucky with the own goal. It was kind of Saliba mistake. It was not his problem. And of course, he got that ghost assist, which like I think it's really subjective to definition, right? Of like intended target, right? Because or deliberate action, these things. So I think a lot of people were surprised that he didn't get that assist. But yeah, they're kind of fantasy assists can be quite random. But another day he'd leave that game with 12 points. He'd get an assist,
clean
3
sheet,
bonus, and a clean sheet, right? So small margins there. And I kind of like posted a little bit on the weekend, just mocking that, double Arsenal defence was the right decision because like they really stifled Liverpool. I think it was just like 1 shot on goal, wasn't it? Really, that they conceded. Arsenal were excellent, and they limited Liverpool to less than 0.4 xg
ish. Yeah,
which is like that's been the best for like 2 or 3 years against a Liverpool squad. So it really is an elite defence, and they're always finding like a random way to concede a goal. So another day that could have been a double clean sheet. And I was okay playing 2 Arsenal defenders in this game. So a little bit unlucky there. Obviously, midfield is looking good. Richarlison, who's been great since moving, playing night striker, coming back from his kind of injury. So kind of really happy with that. Palmer always finds a way. It doesn't have to be a pen, but got his 9 points. Saka, fortunate goal, but was quite involved throughout. He missed a few one-on-ones as well, so he's looking pretty exposed. Gordon had 4, which was a real disappointment. So obviously that was a 4-4 goal fest. He came off at half time. I was kind of thinking, these returns from Harvey Barnes and stuff. I was thinking that should have been Gordon's goal. So I reckon he would have, probability would have suggested he would have had a goal involvement in the second half if he stayed on. So a little bit unfortunate there, but you can't plan for these injuries. Of course, I brought in Haaland, so he got his 5 points. He was looking very dangerous. Like his his underlying stats in that match were a lot better than Phil Foden's, for example. So um, I'm kind of glad I brought him in. If you told me going into this game week, Haaland was going to play 85 minutes, which I thought was like really surprising. Of course, you'd bring him in, right? I would have waited for the double game
Absolutely.
with Muse, of course, and then moved out Solanke. But like, yeah,
Of course.
if you knew Haaland was playing 85 minutes, yeah, everyone would have captained him, and everyone would have brought him in, right? So like he was looking pretty good, had a few chances and whatnot. So yeah, he's going to be perma captain for most people now moving forward, which is a bit of a shame. It removes that element of the game, but yeah, no regrets bringing him in. Watkins obviously had one of those freak games where I think his expected goal involvement was what, 1, and then he just pinged off assist after assist after assist. he seems to do this because he scored 23 early in the season, right, in a single game.
Yeah.
And he's done that historically. I remember the 7-0 win against Liverpool. Was it 7-0 or was it Villa put 7? Yeah, they put 7 past Liverpool. He scored like a monster figure there. He seems to have these games where he just goes off. Yeah. A little bit fortunate, and yeah, obviously I captained Solanke. He was abysmal. He had bad captaincy. The pick in hindsight. I think going into the game week though, anyone who had both Watkins and Solanke would have gone Solanke just because he had pens. He had better underlying stats by some margin as well. Better form. So all these indicators pointed towards Solanke. Like honestly, I think some people who didn't have Solanke got away with it because they would typically go for Watkins. I'm ignoring Haaland because I think some people just wanted to go Haaland, right? So but Solanke versus Watkins, I think most people would have gone for him ahead of that game. But he was poor. He was poor. And then of course my bench, which is why the reason why my move was frustrating was I've lost a double game week in Darwin, who I probably really want now. So I've wasted a transfer. Probably will need a hit now to correct that. And I benched Foden, of course, for 20 points. But I mean, I'm just have to compartmentalize this, right? I think out of those attackers, anyone with common sense would have benched Foden, right? I made a mistake, right, by bringing him in because you bring in Haaland in because I could have played Foden, but Foden, it was a minutes risk, right? Who knows if he was going to play 90? It was a bit of he played every single attacker, but Foden, it wouldn't have been surprising to see him benched, right? Especially the noise around Bernardo playing. He could have played, if he played, he could have played Ride White like he did in the previous game week, and he was anonymous, right? The previous game week, he was really poor. Who knew he was going to play on the left as an inside forward? I didn't predict that. He could have, his minutes could have been 70, like his predicted minutes, rather than playing the kind of full 90 as well. So all those things I didn't expect. And then, of course, you got a hat trick, which was the first time he scored more than 2 goals in a year and a half. So well over a season. And his underlying stats were expected goals of 0.6. So he's overperformed by a factor of 5? Factor of 6. So I mean, this is not me being salty about it because this is on me. I made a bad move by moving Darwin. I should have just waited and kind of kept him and played Foden, right? So it's on me, but probably didn't deserve that amount of bad luck for him to score 20 points from nothing, essentially. He had 4 shots and they weren't open goal chances, right? He had a lot to do. So fair play to him. He played well. But he's not going to put up a full performance like that again in this season or next season, right?
No.
It was just a random one. So frustrating all around really there. But it's 15 points at the end.
I knew. I knew Foden was going to get a hat trick, which is why I played. No, I honestly, it was him or Saka that was going to get benched for me. I ended up just trusting Liverpool.
You must be fuming when Saka had that goal as well, especially the way he got it. He missed a 1-1, and then actually Havertz missed a good chance, and it just fell well to Saka. You must have been fuming.
Number 1 as a Liverpool fan, yes. Number 2 as an FPL owner of Saka on a bench, even more so. And I was like, it's only 10 minutes into the game or something, 15 minutes into the game. This guy could get multiple returns here. And then I felt I got away with it with 9, but going into that City game, I was like, well, it was Foden or Saka on the bench, so Foden needs to get me 9 or more to to make that decision right, and then yeah, he pulled out a 20, which I didn't expect. But I literally benched Saka purely because I'm loyalty to Liverpool. Nothing else in it. I just thought this would be a game to not lose. I could see Liverpool at Arsenal being 0-0, and then
Mm.
obviously Arsenal absolutely dominated the game. But I just felt Brentford's defence is worse than Liverpool's, so I thought, well, Foden might pick
Yeah, no,
something up, and
it's
Saka
kind
could
of
quite
like
easily get nothing.
I mean, Saka was always going to play for me just because of the 90 minutes every game. His underlying stats have been really
Penalties.
good for like probably
Yeah,
10
yeah,
game weeks now, and like he plays 90 minutes with Foden. He's not on any set pieces. He could have been benched, and like his underlying
yeah,
stats have been underwhelming. Even this game where he got 20 points, they weren't the best. Like it's not when Haaland halts, his underlying
yeah,
stats are just like, wow, this guy's so involved. The same with Salah. Darwin's the
yeah,
opposite. He has amazing stats and doesn't score. But like,
yeah.
yeah, it's weird with this game. It's like a bit of a perfect storm where he just like converted every chance he got. Um, we move.
Frustration. The frustration. Well, we'll touch on the talking points of the game week. Not much to really run through, to be honest. I think a lot of this pod is going to be more to do with planning for the double game week that's coming up with the blank. Um, First point, frustrating Saturday morning for us both, as we've touched on. The Liverpool
Mhm.
double confirmed. And I should say the Luton double also confirmed.
Yeah, yeah.
So can touch on that. Haaland got his first start since his injury. The defence is frustrated. I've got a question for you there in a second, but the attackers are bringing home the points, so kind of connecting them too. Like, do you see that there's a place for the expensive defenders this season? Like, maybe not a Trent, because I appreciate with a Trent and a Trippier, you get them in for their attacker returns. But people like Van Dijk, 6.5 million, Ruben
Mm.
Diaz, 6 million. These centre backs that very rarely will get attacking returns. Do you see that the point in spending that much money on one of those players, or is it just better to get a
Um,
4.5 million?
not over the long term. Short term, I can see benefits, right? So I think if you really like Liverpool's next three game weeks, right, and yeah, you think Van Dijk is better short of minutes, or um, it allows you to get another good attacker from another team. I think short term, I can see the appeal of someone like Van Dijk, but yeah, long term, you don't want to be holding him for like 5, 6 game weeks just because of that price point. Someone like Diaz is just almost like pointless in the game right now.
Yeah,
Like Van Dijk can score goals, right? He does have a history of scoring like 2, 3, 4, 5 goals, and he seems to get them during double game weeks as well. He does have a habit of
yeah,
that, so I can see the appeal of Van Dijk, but like, yeah, Diaz and a lot of these other 5.5 to 6 million defenders now.
no point.
Uh,
Better options.
agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't know whether there's any other talking points that came up to you. Obviously, were you both made up to see Haaland start?
De Bruyne is an interesting one, like because I feel like well, he got 5 points, didn't he? He got an assist.
Yeah.
Um, so he's got an attacking, returning. Like, well, there's 2 starts and his sub appearance since coming back from injury. I don't know if he's looking that great, really. I think it's really quite interesting, kind of whether people want to go there or not. I think the name will. A lot of people will go there because the name and the history and whatnot. I don't know if he gets as many minutes as other options, or whether he's just a good option full stop based on like some of the underlying stats. I think I know he's an assist monster. He like spams crosses and whatnot, but I think it's like cumulative expected goals, right? And goals make the difference because you get more bonus for them, you get more points for them, all that kind of great stuff. Especially for a midfielder, this is why Salah's such a great option when he's fit. Like, yeah, I think it's cumulative expected goals, not goal involvement. It's like ignoring assists is like 0.3 over
Obvious.
like 150 minutes. That's not great, is it?
Well, I can bring it on to the next screen because big part of it is who we're gonna get for the double game week.
Mhm.
Well, this gives you the last 6 game weeks, which I
Yeah,
appreciate Haaland hasn't played anywhere near that.
yeah.
I've got him down as over the last So sticking on the right-hand side, I've put in others to consider. So KDB, Haaland, Tony, Jota just haven't played enough minutes to be on this board. But this table is sorted by expected FPL points from game weeks 18 to 23, focusing on purely the teams that are going to double. So you've got your Liverpool, City, Brentford, Luton. KDB, so his stats over the last 2 game weeks, I've got them down as expected goal involvement of 1.32. I think he's got 0.99 on assists. This is since his return, 0.33 on goals. But expected goal involvement of 1.32, he's had 4. So it is a big overperformance.
Yeah, those stats aren't bad, but are they 10.8 million good? And are they worth the minutes risk and stuff like that? I think is the question. I'm a bit skeptical about that.
Yeah, just to finish off those ones on the right. Well, let's start on the right rather than the table. So Haaland's, he's only been back for basically 1 game worth of minutes. Expected goal involvement of 1.01 and has delivered 1. Got his assist for the Foden goal yesterday. So I think
maybe you put too much emphasis on these stats, right? If Foden's just like got 3 goals from like essentially nothing, I don't know.
Yeah, well, he's obviously got, well, you'll see on Foden's on the table, expected goals 1.45. He's actually got 4.
Well, yeah, look, I mean, the over performance there on like game week 18 to 23, like, yeah, his actual points are 48 versus 33, and probably all that over performance came the week I benched
that 1 game.
But this table, I'm guessing you've just filtered it to be double game week players, right?
Exactly that, purely double game week players.
I mean, it really does highlight. Alvarez is a shame for some people, I think, because he's done quite well. Hasn't he? His underlying stats have been pretty impressive, really. But Darwin stands out, of course. Obviously, an underperformer, but you want to bet his 35 expected FPL points. Yeah, that's very nice. Like Barkley's a surprise. I know he's been ticking along, but I wasn't expecting him to be top of this table, right? So between 18 and 23. Expected FPL points of 35 and his actual points 36, so he's not been overperforming really. Yeah, it's quite impressive, right?
Yeah, £4.9 million as well.
The problem is, like, he would be one of those, if you, this to probably make you annoyed, like, but, and you know this, but if you rolled that transfer last week, this would be like the sort of luxury move you'd be able to make is move, I don't know, let's make up a Palmer or a Richarlison or insert anyone to, like, Barkley, free up some funds, and you can kind of use those funds to get a Trent or a KDB as well. So like,
yeah,
there's not enough transfers for me unless you're like going wild card or free hit. If you're wild card or free hit, I think Barkley is an absolute no brainer, right? But yeah, for me it feels like it's too many transfers. I don't have enough transfers to get to him.
Yeah. He's also got Sheffield United this week at home.
Yeah, but I think a lot of these moves is actually right for City, Luton, and Liverpool, especially Luton and Liverpool. If you want to make some moves, you kind of want to be doing them this week, right? So you can benefit. View it as a 3-game week, a 3-match window over 2 game weeks rather than just like the double game week, because like they've got those prime fixtures, right? Sheffield United and Burnley. So those are the ones you want to be targeting, right?
Absolutely.
I think unfortunately I can't go there, but interesting list. Obviously, Foden's looking good. So happy as a owner. Obviously, these Luton budget picks like Doty is kind of been really good. Surprised, but it's not. In some ways, it's surprising to see him there, but in other ways, it's not. Obviously, he's above Trent, but he's played 2.5 more games than Trent over that period, right? So it's kind of to be expected. But he's looking good as the best defender there. 4.5 million, 29 expected FPL points over the last 5 game weeks. Was that a 6 game week? 6 game week window, and like he's got 39 FPL points. So he's been overperforming, but good underlying stats as well. So he's an intriguing option. No, for sure. Like that they just have a bad double game week, don't they? Like, let's be honest. Like, you can't expect much, but there's some interesting names there for sure.
Yeah. And just to finish on the right, is there something to be said for targeting probably City first because of the fixtures, and they don't blank in game week 26 rather than Liverpool and Luton who do? Or would you rather go Brentford for the same reason because they don't blank in 26 either, and they're guaranteed not to blank in game week 29?
Yeah, well, I think like with Brentford, like Tony's like the obvious option, but like
Yeah,
it's for who, right? So
yeah,
I'd rather have Darwin over that, and then just like do the in and out kind of like move. I think if
yeah,
you're free hitting in 25 or you're wild carding now, right? Yeah, bring in Tony, Darwin, and Haaland is the best forward line, right? But I think yeah, the fixtures for Brentford is really bad. They're really really bad. Would you
yeah,
be prioritizing Man City plays? Yeah, probably. But like outside of Haaland, Foden, then to a lesser extent De Bruyne, who do you really want to be going for, like from an attacking point of view? Because it's really tough with minutes. I think even with De Bruyne, the minutes are going to be random, right? Just because of
yeah,
his age and the nature of his injury. Like Haaland had an impact injury, didn't he? It was like a sore bone, wasn't it? Like KDB had like, what do you have? Like it was a muscle based injury, wasn't it? That
yeah.
kept him out since game week 1, right? And he's 32, 33. So I reckon he's going to be
Yeah,
eased
no,
in. So it's really who do you pick as that third option, really? If you're saying Haaland and Foden and nailed, it's like, do you go Walker? Do you go Guardiola? Do you go KDB? It's a bit more difficult. I think the Liverpool team's a lot easier to predict.
yeah, absolutely. Although Salah's not back on the training ground, he's not with the first team yet, but he could very much see a re-entry in game week 25.
Nah,
Nope. So
no,
you're shaking your
no,
head.
nah, no chance. Like look how Robertson and Trent have been eased back in.
Yeah,
Like, it's been very cautious, and like I think if he's him doing him posing in the gym
yeah,
isn't full training, right? So and with Liverpool players, you want to target the Burnley game as well, right? So I think I'm not a doctor, but like I'd be saying if I'm betting, like earliest he's going to come back in for a game is going to be the second game of the game week 25, and it'll probably be targeting the League Cup final.
yeah.
No chance, like no chance he's starting this game week.
So
No chance he starts like the first one of the double. No chance.
who from the Liverpool attack then? Who do you, I'm assuming it's between two. It's between Darwin and it's between Jota.
Mm-hmm.
Darwin's figures are there, so he's played 6 games, only 382 minutes, mind, but he's played 6 games or started 6 games or been
Mm-hmm.
subbed on. Expected FPL points 34. He's had 5 returns. Jota, in the 3 games worth of minutes he's played, has had 7 returns. However, expected goal involvement of 1.8. That is phenomenal. 1.8 expected goal involvement, and he's returned 7 times.
I I really think people are going to get burnt by Jota over the double game week, and I love it.
So
Like,
Darwin's the two. You're going Darwin
of
hands
course it's
down.
Darwin. Of course it's Darwin, 100%. Of course it's Darwin.
Yeah,
And like that's where I mean, yeah, the stats are just out of this world, and like you can see he's the main attacker, right? And like when he doesn't play, you can see like the impact against Arsenal, right? So that might
yeah,
be a bit of a coincidence because Arsenal are such a good defense, but he's so fundamental to Liverpool, and the stats are better than Haaland's in many ways, right? So it's going to come through eventually, and like it could, yeah,
hopefully in time for
double
the double
game it could
game
be
week.
the moment for it. Jota is a very good player, but like he's running incredibly hot, and these things are
Yeah,
not sustainable, right? I know people say, "Oh, Jota's actually a really good finisher. You don't watch football." Funnily enough, actually, for Jota, he kind of like his conversion rate is bang average, which is
that surprises me.
that is like a lot. Most of these players, like they like Son like outperforms his XG by like 20%. So
Yeah,
obviously you
time and
can do the
time
math,
again.
can you? He's not like even in Son's example. If he gets 10 XG, he's scoring 12 goals. Like Jota would be the
Yeah,
best finisher to have ever existed in football, right? If he keeps
1.8 to 7.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So he's running incredibly hot. I don't think it's sustainable. I think he'll reverse to the mean. Like he'll do well, but I think Darwin is a lot better.
Yeah. Would you
This
get
is
both?
the way I play FPL. This is like all I care about those underlying stats and like hope that unless it's like exceptional circumstances, like players regress to those means, right? So I'll be looking at those underlying stats rather than the output and thinking, yeah, Darwin all day. Jota is a good option, but I think it's definitely number 2.
Yeah. Would you get both?
No, I think it's an interesting one. Probably not, just because of my team shape. I mean, let me reframe it. If I was going to get them both, I really want to bring in Liverpool players this week just to target that Burnley home fixture, which is so ripe. Yeah. If I was to bring in Jota, it'd probably be for Gordon, right? He's 6.1. I've got enough cash in the bank to move Gordon to Jota quite easily. The problem I've got then is another massive benching dilemma. So I'd be like, who would I be benching then? I'd be benching.
Yeah.
It'd be a toss up. I'd be starting Jota, of course. I'd be starting Nunes if I bring him in for, say, Solanke. I'd be, I wouldn't want to be doing that. Haaland against Everton, Foden against Everton, Watkins, Man United at home. They are leaking goals, all shapes and forms, and Villa are very good at home. Saka against West Ham, bad defence. Saka very involved. Richarlison home, Brighton, bad defence. He's on great form. Palmer, Palace away. Palace in a bad state. Palmer always gets goals. I'm creating myself a problem there, and it's for -4.
Yeah.
So I think, we'll see about Jota, but I would love to bring in Liverpool players this week. I'd still consider him next week for sure. I'd consider him next week. I think I'd value him over De Bruyne, I would say.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your head? Like, obviously, I'm just preaching like the Nunes message there. But what about you?
No, out of all of the Liverpool players, especially the attack, it's Darwin Núñez. He's had a rest-ish 45 minutes against Arsenal. He is the main man. I think he'll still be on penalties. I appreciate he missed one, but Salah missed quite a few and continued to take them. So I think Darwin will still be the penalty taker if he's on the pitch. And
It was a
you
good
just look
pen
at
as well. It was a good pen, wasn't he? He kind of struck it well, missed the keeper. He hit the post. It wasn't like something that he just trickled to the keeper. Right? It was good. It was a good thing. And his record is what 12 professional pens, 12 out of 13. That's a really good rate. So I think
he'll carry on. And he's the one that, let's put it this way, most Liverpool fans, he's in your starting 11 for a reason. So he's the one for me. I'll move the screen on in a second to predicted points for the next 6 game weeks in case that changes the way you're looking at who you might bring in. But just for those that might consider Tony, just if you definitely want a player with no blank coming up. Expected goal involvement since he's been back, he's played about 3 game worth of minutes as well. Expected goal involvement of 2.01.
nice.
And he's returned three times. So
that's
he's
looking
back
good.
with a bang.
That is looking good.
This table doesn't look good, on the other hand. This was a very makeshift. I've used the table that we get from Fantasy Football Fix, but I had to do some cutting, and I've tried to line up the numbers. As you can tell from the slides and the logo, my art skills aren't great, so hopefully it all makes sense for those that are watching. But this is basically a list of over the next 6 game weeks, again, concentrating on those players that have a double game week in game week 25, their points predicted over that time. Unsurprising, you've got Haaland at the top, who is playing in all 6 game weeks. He's also got a double in game week 25. Salah second. So clearly Fix think he's back for that double game week. Because what surprises me there is 0 points in 24, 0 points in 26, still predicted to be second. But is there anybody that you feel looks out of place or is missing from this, or does it all make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I know you put the 6 game weeks, but I think like for this period we can kind of condense it to that 24 to 27 window, can't we? With that emphasis on the double. I mean, Haaland's the absolute no-brainer. No surprise to see him on top, given he's got the double, and he's predicted for the next 6 game weeks to be the top scorer by like over 10 points really. Like if you ignore that Salah anomaly, so like yeah, obviously absolute no brainer, and those minutes are really good. Like on Monday, so no surprise there. Salah, I kind of disagree with kind of the expected minutes there. I think if he don't get minutes against Burnley, he ain't gonna get minutes. He ain't gonna start or get minutes in the in the first of the double game week games. So yeah, I think Salah's a little bit high. Foden, I kind of like, obviously with that performance that he put in, you can never know with Pep, right? But I think he was talking about his flexibility to play across the line. That's the first I think he's played this year on the left as well. So he can now play as the 10, the left, the false 9, and the right, which is his usual position, right? So I think his minutes out of all those midfielders has really been bumped up. So it was a really good performance, right? So I know I was being salty about the hat trick against XG of 0.6, but it was a good performance. So I'm hot on his minutes. De Bruyne's looking good, but as is Alvarez. But of course, like these are City players, right? So they got a double and no blank. You'd expect them to be high. So yeah, no surprises there. I mean, De Bruyne, I think it's just a view of that double. If you're targeting that, will he get the minutes in it, or do you think he's going to have some rotation? I just think there'll be some rotation there for sure.
Yeah.
And then who we got? Tony's looking up and down for Tony really, but like he's got some poor fixtures, but like yeah, obviously good option. Trent, he's the 30 points over the next 6 game weeks predicted, so that's like looking really nice. And then the next 2 game weeks, he's looking to get predicted to score over 16 points according to Fix. Does he come back straight back in? He played 50 minutes. Is he? I don't think he's too good to be benched, but does he come straight back in full 90 in against Burnley?
Not when you see what Bradley did. I think Bradley did enough that Klopp will keep a bit of faith in him. Yeah, maybe Trent will start, but give it 65, 70 minutes, and then Bradley comes on.
That's all right.
Depending on the score. If we're like 3-0 up, potentially he'll probably just drop him to the bench and bring Bradley on to see the game out.
That's pretty good though. That's good for securing a clean sheet potentially, isn't it? So I think that ain't a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then obviously the double game week for Liverpool, they've got 2, and then they got the League Cup 3 or 4 days after the second of the double. Will Trent play both of those games? I think you've got to play the best players, right? I don't think Klopp is historically rotated, and like surely you play the best players.
Well, yeah, because we're chasing the league, and I think he wants the league over the League Cup. So I think
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And like historically, there's not been a huge amount of rotation, and like we're talking about a boy who like has played 2 games like for Liverpool, and like we're talking about like the youngest English player to complete all of like the all like club competitions, right? So, like, I think sometimes people get a little bit carried away with these things, but like Trent is very interesting, of course, and like I just need some answers now because like I kind of want him this week, I kind of want him for this game week for the get the hit. Which is annoying because I got rid of Trent like probably just like 3 game weeks to get a Stupinan, who's now the backup left centre back for Brighton. So like
half times.
What a dumb move. But like I think players like Darwin and Jota seem to be. I think that's
low
fair.
price. That feels low.
Well, they got a blank in it. They do have the game week 26.
Yeah,
blank.
but
like,
even when you look like so Darwin Núñez is predicted 4.2. Alisson Becker's predicted 5. Like that is insane.
It's minute security, right? But would I think Virgil van Dijk would outscore Núñez over the next 2 by what 2-3 points? Nah. And the same goes for kind of Jota really. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised at that. I think Ake is a bit too hot on Ake versus other City defenders. I think Vardy was probably the pick of the bunch now, followed by Walker. But yeah, like it's not surprised. This list isn't surprising.
Yeah.
No Luton players. No Luton players.
No, that's it. It's very much not caught them up how well they've been doing.
Mm.
But question for you in terms of solving a headache, right? So a lot of people will be bringing in Liverpool players for the double, but then immediately have to sell them potentially to if they can't afford to bench them without getting blanks on the bench in game week 26. Do you think there's a move here if you've got two playing keepers to change one of them for Alisson Becker? Because he won't play in the League Cup final. Kelleher will play. So Becker's going to play all the Premier League games. So you think there's a move there? Bring him in, have your Liverpool defence covered, and then just make sure your second keeper is going to play in game week 26, so then you're not forced into an exit transfer.
It's very dull. Maybe, yeah. There's kind of a move there. I can see the logic, right? Because like you don't have to worry about game week 26. There's no upside, is there really? Well, there is
Scored ahead at
actually.
once.
Double game week keepers can score massive hauls, so I think that's some logic. It's kind of boring. It's probably one of those moves that will be the best one you can do, but it's just very boring, right?
Yeah. It doesn't feel exciting, but it just solves a transfer dilemma later down the line. And he has scored a header. He has got a goal in the Premier League.
I mean,
So, and he has got an assist now and again.
yeah, I think psychologically you wouldn't want to do it for a hit, would you?
No, no. Not a, I don't think so. But
Um,
it just then stops you potentially needing to take a hit going into
yeah,
game week 26 potentially.
yeah,
So
I think it helps. I think it helps.
preemptive. And last part before we move on to the standard captain option. Potential get my words out. Potential chip strategy. We did touch on this slightly last week, and I appreciate we'll have had some time to think about it. But you mentioned Ben Crellin before. Well, Ben Crellin has designed this spreadsheet in partnership with Fantasy Football Hub that I'm showing now, which basically shows you the games or that are expected to potentially happen or have already been set in stone. Now, the table is slightly out of date, so the orange where Liverpool and Luton is a likely double game week is now confirmed. So it shows you
Mm-hmm.
what you've got there. It shows you a couple of the blanks in game week 26, and it also shows you game week 29 and who may and may not blank. I've put a couple of strategies down the right. I'm leaning towards number one, which I kind of touched on last week. I can use my transfers to get out a good team in game week 25, get an 11 out in game week 26, and then I'll think about the FA Cup when it comes. Unfortunately for us, that FA Cup last um, last round of five, I believe it is, comes after game week 26. So I don't see any point in planning for it until it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So in my head, I can whoever goes through, I can just use my free hits and cover that game week, which might only have 4 or 5 games in it. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where I'm leaning. I'm leaning towards number one. I don't know where you're leaning.
Um, I think it's important to have flexibility, right? I mean, I've played around with like a free hit in 25 or a wild card in 24, and go into 25 with a triple captain and whatnot. And it does look quite appealing. It does look quite appealing. I probably won't do that though. But like, I think tomorrow's FA Cup replay
Yeah,
with Villa and Chelsea is
Chelsea
quite
Villa.
important, right? So if I'm hoping Villa beat Chelsea. So if Villa beat Chelsea, that means that um, you know Chelsea and Arsenal will play in game week 29.
Correct.
Now it's not a great matchup, but I will have Saka, and I'll have double Arsenal defense, and I'll have Palmer, right? So that's a real core to a team. Then you can talk about, I've got kind of Richarlison. I could work towards getting 7, 8, 9 good players for 29. So I think if
With no
I'll wait and
chips.
see what happens there. So, but like if Chelsea beat Villa, so if Chelsea win, it means that Villa and West Ham play, right? So that's Areola and Watkins, which is not as appealing, right? In my opinion. So yeah, really, I'll see what happens in the FA Cup, and I'm gonna keep it flexible until like things are like locked in. But yeah, current plan is probably triple captain in 25 on Haaland. Just because with these things, I'm not afraid to use. Some people are scared to use chips, right? And they just hold back until right last minute. I think when you've got an elite player who is fit and is got a good probability of playing 2 decent fixtures, you go for it. Now that's worked for me
Close
in
to
the
home.
past, but sometimes it doesn't work. But like, you know, what you don't want to do is keep your triple captain because there might be a better one later in the season, and then like Salah's injured, or there's massive
Yeah.
rotation around like Champions League for Haaland, or insert loads of other things, and you end up triple captaining Lewis Dunk. I did that like a few seasons ago, as did a lot of people, right? Because we just ran out of time. So if there's a fit Haaland with 2 home games, I'm going to go for Haaland, right? So yeah, I think triple captain game week 25 is looking quite likely for me. And then I would like to use my free hit in a double game week to just like really maximize that upside.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
would love to be able to try and navigate game week 29, even if I put out 8 or 9 players with free transfers or a hit, right? So, yeah, I guess. And what strategy is this that you've got mapped out? It's
I don't think I have. Strategy 5, I think that is, Matt. Strategy number 5. I've used free hit in them all. You're thinking of taking it even further.
well, yeah, I think. Well, I'll go through like one is probably a comp. Yeah, one with triple captain. Like obviously that's a trip. It's probably going to be quite common, but that's probably I'm 50-50 whether I'm following that strategy or like dependent on FA Cup kind of fixtures. If that Chelsea and if Chelsea lose to Villa, I think I'll be trying quite hard to build a squad with maybe a hit here and then for 29. It's kind of an interesting one because actually Luton come into play as well because they may will kind of influence what double game week essentially I kind of bring in as well. So yeah, lots of ramifications here. But number
It's annoying,
2,
isn't
which
it?
is
That it's after 26. That the
yeah
FA Cup is after round of 26. Frustrating.
yeah exactly. So I think I'll be route 1, which is free hit in 29, triple captain in 25, and that or like 1.5, which is kind of keep it flexible and kind of like start building a team towards 29 through free
Yeah.
transfers and hits. I think your other ones, I just don't rate them as much. Like using a free hit in 20, like 26 is very easy to navigate. I don't think anyone should be free hitting there. Free hitting in 25 is quite cool, but I think most people have a core of the best options, right? Everyone's got
Yeah.
everyone will have 2 or 3 Man City. Everyone will have 2 or 3 Liverpool. Well, 1, 2 or 3 Liverpool. Like the upside there is the Luton players and the Brentford players, but then for a free hit, you'll probably be benching some. You'll be getting rid of some very good players. Like so, let's use an example. Charlton against Wolves, right? He could get some goals, right? You've got who else? Arsenal are playing Burnley, right? Double Arsenal defense. Saka, you could get a return there. So I think it's easy enough to build without a free hit for 25.
Yeah.
What's your other one? Transfers at 25 and 26. Wildcard in 27.
When you know who's going to be playing in 29.
I think that just
So you could basically, the reason I'm looking at that is you could basically build a squad from game week 28, knowing who's going to double later on, which is
yeah.
looking at the odds. It could be Liverpool, it could be City, but you
Yeah,
just fill your team full of them and then free it in 29. Yeah, I was just making these up. I'm on number 1, so I was just making up some potential alternatives to consider, just in
yeah.
case.
3 and 4, I think, are a bit crazy, man.
Number 4 would be yeah. Be
like,
fun.
I think a more interesting strategy, which you haven't put, because obviously you're looking at a 24 to game week 24 to 29 window, right? So
Yeah,
obviously there's like 2 double game weeks in 34 and 37, if not another one. There may be that double game week in 27 or 28 for Bournemouth and Luton, right? But we don't know that yet. But I think an interesting strategy would be actually you could wildcards this game week because like Luton have a great game, Liverpool have a great game, City have a great game, right? So you're getting that upside of those games. Have an awesome squad for 25. You could bench boost it. You could use triple captain. Then you could probably you use free transfers to navigate 26. So I think that's a viable strategy. But out of your one is the most sensible
key.
for sure.
Interesting. I'm not going to wildcard this week, by the way, but I didn't even think of that as an option. And as you say, target that Luton, Liverpool, City. home game this week, and then their double straight after.
Yeah, I know
Ross
Luton.
Barkley. You want Ross
Luton have some
Barkley?
good stats to me, but like it don't sound. I mean, if they have a double game week in 27 and 28, then it seems like incredible. But that hasn't been announced yet, right? And as we know, these things it's kind of informed these percentages, but it is very random as well because I think it's logic doesn't always come through. Like logic would have said that the Liverpool double was announced on middle of last week rather than Saturday
Friday.
morning, right? Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
I think option one is the best. So yeah, transfer navigate 25 and 26 hits are okay to use here and then, and maybe free hit in 29. I'm gonna try and avoid that free hit in 29 and then target that for a double.
See where you are. So you'll be you're very much wearing your Villa scarf tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Up the
Cash is
Villa.
back as well, I've heard. Well, Conser's injured, isn't he, for like a month.
Yeah, that's frustrating. Because that means Cash might start playing, and I've just sold him because he wasn't getting a
He will
start.
now. I think he's got to start, right? So
Exactly, and I've literally just got rid of him because he wasn't. And as soon as I get rid of him, oh no, Conser's injured.
The good thing is he's not very good,
I think
right?
he'll be back. Yeah, true. But
So
I think he'll be back.
The
I
Villa
think he'll be
defense will be
back
pretty
for the
poor
Prem.
if Torres and Conser are out. So he'll be back though.
I think he'll be back. Captain options, we always look at it. Check him out. Unsurprisingly, for game week 24, Haaland is top in his home game against Everton. Predicted to get 6.6. Trent second with 6.2. He is at home to Burnley. Richarlison at home to Brighton getting 5.3. Doughty in fourth place. Luton defender at home to Sheffield United 5.2. And then Virgin Watkins on 5.1 to finish off the top five. I mean, is it clearly Haaland? Nobody else, don't even look anywhere else. Or is there arguments to be made?
I think Richarlison is a good option, of course. Son South Korea have just been knocked out and they've been beaten by Jordan. Yeah. So I don't know if Son will kind of like come back to the squad and start immediately. I doubt that, but that kind of like does reduce Richarlison's appeal a little bit. But I don't think he's had a penalty, so like he's still doing well out the pens. Jota and Darwin don't appear here, and I think they are better than I think they're better than everyone else on this. Quite frankly, I think they're better than Trent. I think they're better than Richarlison. So I think they all push it close. But I think Haaland, given he had 85 minutes, I think he's the clear favourite, of course. And he did some had some awesome underlying stats again. So I think he's the clear captaincy option. Yeah.
Well, you've got Darwin predicted 4.2. Jota predicted 3.7.
Yeah, there's got to be like an X minutes kind of like issue there. Yeah. Like they must be predicting like 60 minutes or something like that, rather than. I think both of them are closer to like 75 if you're like averaging it out, 75, 80 minutes.
So. I'm going to end up on Haaland, and we'll see that shortly when I show my team, but I'll probably end up on Haaland. I would, if I got Darwin back, I would very much consider a home to Burnley, wounded after the 3-1 defeat to Arsenal, get back at it. Last time we lost a game, we went on a run of, as a stat for you, Liverpool haven't lost in over a year in the Premier League when they've had 11 men on the pitch. There's a stat. So they'll be back. They'll be wounded animal. But I'd consider it. But I'll end up on Haaland. I think that is a sensible plan.
How do you bake that into the model? The expected wounded animal effect.
Yeah, that's. I don't think Fix do. Yeah, I'll have a word with them for next week and see if I can get that bought in for the next one. Matt versus Dave. Now I don't really want to look at this because despite the fact one of your picks didn't play, you still won comfortably. So Eze 0, Hodgland, or however you pronounce it, Hoyland 8, Brocha, who I thought, this guy's going into Fulham. He's going to show Chelsea what they're missing. Came on, got nothing, so 1 point for him. And Dan Burn decided to concede 4 before getting subbed off and got a -1. So I ended up on 0, which is by far the lowest score either of us have had doing this game. So the score is now 9-8 to me. You pulled one back. Would you like to thank your fans for always believing you?
I ain't got any
You
left,
don't
but
have to.
yeah, the ones that are remaining, thank you guys. But I
Well,
think
it's my pick first.
every week we got
Yeah,
a return, haven't we? I think.
at least one of us, I think, has got a
Yeah,
return.
which
There was
not.
that one week where I went like 4-3, and it's because Decore got subbed off at half time or something
There was
stupid.
one game week. Yeah, there was one game week where it was like, yeah, we just got a appearance clean
Yeah,
sheet bonus or something for Decore, right? But yeah, other than that, I think
well,
we found someone who's done something. And I think were you talking about Cunha or was I talking about Cunha last week? One of us was.
I think you came up on one of the lists, but I never ever
Yeah,
considered him, so it must have been you.
yeah,
But yeah,
I'll take that one.
little hat trick for him. I'm feeling confident this week. I feel like,
Okay,
well, I get to pick first. I'm going to lose now. I've said that, but I'm picking a man we've already spoke about this week. He's at home to Sheffield United. He plays for Luton. He's on by 0.7% of the game. He's a fellow Scouser. It is Ross Barkley.
man, nice, nice. Trusting those stats, Dave, was you?
Yeah, in his last 13 games for Luton, he's bought 7 returns.
Yeah,
So that's
fair enough.
one every 2 games, but he's now at home to Sheffield United. So hopefully he can carry on what he did at Newcastle, got a goal and an assist there. So yeah,
Yeah,
top performing player according to expected FPL points over the last 6 game weeks. So let's see
I
if he
like
carries
it.
it on.
I like it. I'm going for a player who is what's their ownership? 2.7% owned. They are playing Brentford at home. They've got 12 goal involvements this season. Yeah,
Mhm.
in 13 starts.
Wow. Okay.
So
Am
you
I
go for it.
guessing?
Yeah,
Has he been injured?
he's only got 13 starts, so yeah, he's got it. Yeah,
Is it Neto?
yeah, Pedro Neto.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't believe he's 2.7% owned. That injury
I think it was
is
just that injury, wasn't it?
and
It was that injury.
yeah.
He was like a fan. He was a favorite only for a lot of people. He's had 3 starts. So in those starts, he scored 4. He got an assist against Chelsea the weekend. He got 13 against United, goal and an assist, and then 3 points against Brighton in 21. So yeah, it's decent form since coming back as well.
Back. And he did that early in the season, didn't he? Maybe like assisted in 7 games in a row or something
Yeah,
crazy. So yeah, fair play, fair play.
his
My
mate
second, you know what?
Huang might be it back as well. So an added bonus, right? So you might have Cunha
Yeah,
and Huang to target. So yeah, they're coming. Those
well, I
assists.
completely overlooked him. Wasn't even looking at him. I was too focused on Ross Barkley. My second one isn't even him. Usually, my second one, you go this guy, and I'm like, that was my other one. Um, I'm taking a gamble. I don't know whether he's going to start, but Newcastle striker away at Forest, 3.1% owned, will be on penalties, coming back from injury. He got 45 minutes in the last game, but he's got 7 goals this season, and he mustn't have played any more than about 6 games combined in terms of minutes. Um, Callum Wilson, 3.1%.
Okay,
I just feel like that St
no,
James
I like
is,
it.
they've just scored 4 against Luton. Their defense seems horrendous, but their attack seems solid. Newcastle. So yeah, I'll go for Callum Wilson. That's my
No, I
second.
like that. I didn't consider him. I think that's probably the best pick so far. Like this week.
You reckon?
Why he wasn't your first pick over Barkley? I don't know. But
Scouts on it.
um, I think I'm going to tap into Luton and their attacking stats for my second pick. So I'm going to pick a guy who is 2.3% owned. He has scored 5 goals in his last four game weeks.
Nice.
Adebayo.
Must be a striker.
Yeah,
Adebayo.
Adebayo.
Adebayo. Okay. Luton man. So we both picked a Luton player. Adebayo versus Barkley. And then it's Neto versus Wilson.
I think
Interesting.
you're winning that so far. I think. Yeah.
Well, I'll be very disappointed. This you've just brought it up, the fact that we have always found somebody that's got an attack and return. if we don't out of those 4 players get an attack and return, there's something wrong, surely. At least one of
Definitely.
those has got to get something, you'd think.
Definitely. I mean, look at the screen again. Look at your picks from last week. What were you thinking?
It's,
What?
I'll blame the fixtures.
What were you doing?
I'm like, yeah. I got carried away with being 9-7 up, I guess. I just thought, I'll have some fun with it. I thought Newcastle would get a clean sheet. I thought that was coming in. And then they conceded 4. I don't know why I picked Frosier. Like, that was poor. That was a bad pick. Anyway, I'm back to it. Barkley or Wilson. I'm back to it. Focused. Focus for the game week ahead. Let's see if I can get that two lead back. But yeah, thanks for pointing it out. It was a terrible, terrible decision.
You deserve
on
0 points
to
for those picks.
I did deserve 0 points for those picks. I can care. Questions for Matt will be back next week. So I'll put that on the Twitter so we can get a chance
Did you
to do it.
mind? Did you read my mind? Yeah, when I was saying I don't want to deal with any questions this
I
week.
did a little bit.
Why
I
did
did
you
a little
bench
bit.
Foden?
And to be honest, I also thought a lot of people would ask questions that we've touched on anyway about which double game week players should I get and like who's the best captain option now. Haaland's back, all that jazz. So we've kind of
True.
covered it. So I thought I'll dodge you for this one.
There's a
Got
quick
9 plans for
turnaround as
game
well,
week.
isn't it? Monday night, end of game week, and then then straight on.
Quick turnaround.
Not
Quick
much.
turnaround.
I know you got a busy lifestyle on you, so like
That's it. You know,
not
I mean, you don't get slides looking this professional without me spending a serious number of hours on it. You know, but game week 24 plans. I'm looking. I've only got 1 free transfer, which does feel not great. I could have quite easily had 2 still, but down to 1, 4.9 in the bank. Brentford's a consideration based on their double and no blank, but they're I'm not a fan of the fixtures. You know, they've got Liverpool, they've got Man City in the double. I think they're away at. I want to say who they got next. It's not an easy game anyway, from memory. They got Wolves. I'm pretty sure they've got Wolves away.
Wolves
So
away. Yeah, you're right.
I'm not fancying that. I am very much likely to target a Liverpool player, and then it's where I go. The one thing I haven't noted because I only started thinking about it today was potentially bringing in Allison. I'm probably bringing him in for Dubravka because of his fixture swing better with Areola, and it'll
Yeah.
allow me in game week 26 to have Areola who's playing at home to Burnley rather
Okay.
than Dubravka who's playing away at Arsenal. It's just a better rotation for me, so that's a consideration. I probably won't do that this week, if I'm honest. I'd rather attack and bring in an attacking Liverpool player. So potentially Solanke to Darwin, bring him straight back in. I could go Gross to Jota, but then I've got a benching headache. I'm quite happy with Gross on the bench,
Yeah.
playing Tottenham. That'll give me a headache. Or if I want to go for the defence, Taylor to Van Dijk and still give me the budget to do Jota and Darwin next week. Or if I want to get Trent in, I'd have to probably sell Saliba and then lose that Arsenal double defence. And I know it hasn't been great for me, but it doesn't feel right to sell Saliba. I mean, yeah.
Well,
So
that's
that's
a lot going through your mind then.
It's a lot in there. There's a lot
There
going
was
through.
a lot of or lots of
There's
options
a
there.
lot of awe. I think if you were to say right now, make your transfer, make your decision, I'm selling Solanke and I'm buying Darwin Núñez right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'd
Sound.
end up doing.
Yeah.
Leaves me with Gross on the bench, which is fine. I'm quite happy having just one Arsenal defender on the pitch, so I'll run through the team just for those that can't see it. Dubravka and Net away at Forest. Walker, Gabriel, and Burn across my defence. Saka, Richarlison, Foden, and Palmer across the mid, and then I'm starting Solanke, Watkins, and my captain armband is firmly on Haaland now that he's back. But yeah, Solanke to Darwin would look nice. Darwin's at home to Burnley. He'd get the vice captaincy. If I was feeling a bit like taking a risk, I could captain him, but I'd always change it back at 10 to 11 on Saturday morning. So I might as well leave it on Haaland. But yeah, that'd be what I'd do now. I'd do Solanke to Darwin if I
I
was
think
to
the
do it
Liverpool,
today.
but the Liverpool options, I think you really do want that Burnley fixture as well, and just view it as a bunch of 3 games that you got in 2
Yeah.
game weeks. Otherwise, you'd be kicking yourself otherwise. And Fulham away is an okay fixture, it's not an amazing fixture, right? So like you can see the logic behind it, and like Darwin against Burnley at home is definitely better than Solanke away to Fulham, right? So there's some
Let's see.
upside there. Got a question
And
though.
then even to
Why
look.
are
Go on,
you?
sorry.
You've mentioned earlier like the Newcastle are the worst. Well, I don't know if you mentioned it, but no, we know like Tottenham, Spurs, and Newcastle are the worst defenses in the league at the moment. Why are you benching Saliba over Burn? That's a
I'm
mistake.
still. I'm probably still got it in my head that Newcastle are the team of last season defensively.
Yeah,
Well, they're definitely
you,
not. So I don't know whether we said it on this, but they are in the last 6 game weeks. Expected goals conceded. They're bottom.
well, and
Tottenham are
Spurs,
second to
yeah,
bottom.
Spurs
Yeah,
and Newcastle, the games to target from an attacking point of view. Yeah, you need to put Saliba starting that.
yeah. And Byrne had a shocker, as you say. So Livermore might start ahead of him anyway. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. I could. That's an easy change. But I think at the minute I'm bringing Darwin back.
Yeah, yeah,
You
cool.
know, and I'll justify it. He was 7.5 when I sold him. He's now 7.4. So I've made 0.1 million on the transfer, and I've saved myself 0.3 million on Haaland because he's gone up by 0.3 since I bought him. So I've 0.4 million from the transfers. That's how I'm going to justify it to myself, Matt. You gotta look at the positives when you can, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, on to your teams. You're pulling a face. There wasn't really any positives. I concur. I'm lying to myself.
No, I was kind of thinking about the fuss people are making around like the conspiracy that prices getting manipulated. I think it's been explained right why. But anyway, he's obviously going to go up 0.3 this week, and probably next week. So just bring him in if you want him. I would prefer.
So on
I would have preferred to roll, kept Darwin, played Foden, and then bought Haaland for 0.5 more expensive. But
yeah, yeah,
hey,
yeah. So on that, just whilst before we run through then, so he dropped by point 0.1, sold in his droves, dropped by point 0.1 only, and now he's being bought back by less than the people that have sold him, but he's going much quicker. What is that? How did like do you know how that works?
I think FPL Statistics, which is one of the really good like price change sites, I think they pushed some stuff and said, whilst it seems a bit random, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. So it's like based on, I think, to drop a price, it's based on percentages
Yeah,
and I think I think a lot of people sold on wildcard, which doesn't really affect price changes. And because his sheer ownership was so high at the beginning of the season, 80%, he needed to drop hell of a lot based on that. But I think then once a player's then going up, I think it's like small thresholds. Anyway,
yeah,
a person a lot
interesting.
smarter than that's probably a shit explanation, but like someone a lot smarter than me on FPL Statistics was like commenting on it when it was like a hot topic, like a few months ago when he wasn't dropping him, and now when he's like started rising really quickly, and it was like yeah, it seems a bit weird, but like it's still within the realms of possibility of his prediction tool. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Well, there you
um,
go. But sorry, that was a random question to throw in just before you're going to run through your team.
I would have prepped that. Yeah, it's more interesting though than my team. It's pretty dull. It is. So my team at the moment is Dubravka, Cash against United. Now that he's back in the starting 11 with Quanta being injured, I'm pretty sure he will be. Saliba, Gabriel, so the double Arsenal offence again. I'm going to keep faith that those underlying stats, which are incredibly good, they're probably better than peak Man City. Right from that defence is a really amazing defence that Arsenal have kind of created there. Then the mid is looking good. Palmer, Richarlison, Saka, Foden, Haaland, captain, Watkins, and Solanke. And then my thoughts are well, I was kind of just thinking like the random dilemmas is like the double game week that defenders, is anyone worth bringing in? Like Cash is the weak point of my team, of course. Like looking at that kind of squad for this single game week, are there any double game week defenders that I really like and I really nailed for the next like 3 matches and have an upside? I think Trent ticks those boxes, but he's very expensive, of course. Doty could be interesting. right? But do I want to be bringing him in for a hit potentially? I don't know. That seems a bit random. Same thing goes to like someone like Walker or Guardiola. Do I want to bring them in for cash and then probably for a hit because I am going to bring in Darwin this week. I'm pretty sure around that. So it'll be for a hit.
Yeah.
Is it worth it bringing in those defenders for a hit this week? Probably not. Trent, potentially there is that kind of option. But what I'll need to do is just play, in the case of Trent, I'll need to play the scenario of if I go Trent this game week, it's obviously a -4. What do I think Cash will get? I think Cash will get 2 points. Trent could get, well, he probably his predicted points are like in excess of 6, right? So you could pay off the hit straight away, and then this conversation of then what else can I do with my team going into the double game week? It would certainly mean I can't get De Bruyne. It would certainly mean that Jota, there's not an easy route to Jota, so I wouldn't be able to upgrade Gordon, for example. I would have to move someone like Saka which don't feel great because Saka's playing Burnley, and he could be one of those glue players I've got between now and game week 29, right? So I have to play those scenarios in my head. So yeah, I've mentioned Darwin to Solanke, not Darwin to Solanke, like Solanke to Darwin is my plan move just because of the real upside of his underlying stats and just the really nice fixtures that he's got over the next 3. It'll probably mean me just doing a bit of a in and out. I'll probably have to bring Solanke back in game week 26, but I can live with that. It's cool. That's all right. Watkins, I think he's just got better fixtures, right, over the next kind of couple. If Villa do beat Chelsea, Watkins out does become a bit more appealing, just because Solanke could have a double in 27 or 28, and Watkins won't have a fixture in 29. However, I just think that the actual core fixtures for Watkins is just a lot better than Solanke. Like Solanke has a really bad 25 and 26. Don't really want him for that period. And then final point I put is like, because this will influence whether I get Trent or not, is like, is De Bruyne really needed, right? So he's been looking great, but I look at, does a player look great, but also base a lot on the stats. And he's been spamming crosses and whatnot. That's great. And he's like feeding in like a really great attacking line. But he's been massively overperforming what he's been doing. And he's been getting assists rather than goals, right? So you can see how that manifests, right? Like this on Monday, 3 goals, he got 5 points. He's just got an assist. Like you want the people getting the goals ultimately, don't you? You want to be like, you want someone with expected goal involvement that's really good. But De Bruyne is very weighted towards assists rather than goals. So I think he's quite difficult for me to get in. I just don't believe he's going to play. He's not going to start 3 games, and I want people who I think are going to be confidently kind of start their notes. And again, De Bruyne's price point is kind of tough. I don't want to sell Foden. I don't want to sell Saka. Richarlison, I don't really want to sell him this game week, nor in 25. Obviously, 26, he's got a blank, but Richarlison is looking great. Do I want to sell Palmer? No, I probably want to sell Gordon, but then that's a hell of a lot. That's a big up, kind of like that's a big jump in price, right? From 6
to 5 million.
It's a 5 million thing kind of change. So that means that I can't get Trent. I can't really get any decent defender, right? It means actually getting, Darwin is a bit tougher as well. I'd probably have to move Watkins, right? So De Bruyne is quite restricted from a price point of view as well. But I'm not concerned going without him. He could go big, but I think there's a real minutes risk. So that's my thoughts now. So I think confident I'll do Solanke probably to Darwin, or vice captain, kind of like Darwin then. And then the question then is, do I move Estupiñán or Cash to a double game week defender? Trent is the one that catches my eye for obvious reasons, but likewise, a City defender or Guardiola or Walker or Doty could be of interest. However, if I go down that route, I'll probably delay it until 25, right? I don't want to bring them in for a hit.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to go mad. Like, do you know what I mean? Guardiola or Walker, their ceiling is 8 points.
6. Yeah, with the bonus.
Really, I wouldn't be surprised if Calvert-Lewin scores against them, right? So I think I think it'll be hard to justify that hit there. I think Trent is the only one I can justify as a hit. So if I want to really go down that route, I'll bring in Darwin and Trent for a hit this game week, and that'll probably be for cash, I think, rather than a stupid am. But I'll work out how the numbers work, and then I'll form a view of whether I roll in 25 or bring in. If I could squeeze in a Jota, I probably can't. But do I squeeze in a Luis Diaz? Do I squeeze in a Bernardo Silva? Do I bring in a Guardiola Walker for a defender? That's probably a better route. So yeah, I'll see how it goes. But
Please, would that be your first hit of the season?
It would be, yeah. And the frustrating thing is like, I think limiting hits is just generally a good strategy. Full stop. I think outside of blanks and doubles, right? That's when they can be a bit more justified. But I really did need to make one because I should still have Darwin in my team.
Yeah.
And then I'd have a really straightforward move, which would be, okay, buy Slanky, I'm bringing in Haaland's captain in. Happy days.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I was starting off like at the beginning, saying it was a really frustrating game week. Obviously, the benching 20 points from Foden was a real reason for it, but it was generally I made a really stupid move, right? I could have just waited. I gave the reason why I did it. I saw the price, the two-way price change, but I could have absorbed that. And I was like, I didn't know I was going to be awake for the deadline, right? Because I was doing something on the Friday night, like. But it was a stupid decision there. Like, so yeah, that'd be my first hit.
The Premier League
could have avoided it, but yeah.
Blame the Premier League for releasing the double game week so late.
I don't. I think I probably did put a bit too much emphasis on just the talk on X being like, given it's not announced now, it needs to be announced now, otherwise it's not going to be on. So if I didn't see that, I would have been none the wiser, and like then I'd be like, I'll just wait again.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. Corrective surgery. You've always taught us that. If you make a mistake, don't be afraid to undo it. So
last year that's why I screwed up when I made my big mistake there, which was jumping off Bruno and Kane a little bit too early. I just kind of like all I need to do is a hit to correct that, but I was too hung up. So like getting rid of Darwin was a mistake, but like I don't want him for these game weeks. I'd be so pissed off if that was the game he gets his mega haul, like Burnley or in a double. He could come out like the next 2 game weeks with 40 points.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be made up if he does as a red, but it's a lot of goals, right? It's like 5 goals. Plus no more 6.
Yeah, I'm being a bit. I'm exaggerating, right?
You got them. Absolutely. We'll take 30 points for him. We'll take 30 points over the next 3 games.
I need 40 just to make up this like Foden loss. So like, yeah, I'm going 40 as a baseline.
We'll take them. We will take them. But yeah, spot on. Well, I will move the screen on, and that's the end. Considering we didn't have questions from Matt, I thought it might be a bit of a quicker one, this one, but no, it's a solid ton 30. And neither of us have brought up the fact that we're hoodie jump. Get my words out again. Hoodie twins today.
Ooh, is that a hint for some FPL Journey to 10k merch coming?
Maybe. I'll put some calls in to a couple of mates, and see what we can do. Talk about mates. I think we are due to get back together next week after the game week. Hopefully in next Tuesday, potentially Thursday. We can't do Wednesday because our missus will never forgive us. So potentially Tuesday or Thursday, and we might well have one of our friends join us for that stream. We will give nothing away. It will be a surprise for the listeners, but we might well have somebody join us. So look forward to that one. But appreciate your time, Matt. As always, thanks for joining us.
Hopefully, it was a good one. 90 minutes. I thought it'd be a quick one, but it was a good one. I'm getting worried, mate. It's only 7 minutes till Love Island's on, so like I need a.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'll let you go. You've just made it in time. Just made it, so you can go and enjoy it. But I'm sure I'll speak to you before. But otherwise, best of luck for the game week ahead, and I'll catch up with you next week.
Yeah, and you as well. Good to chat.
And yourself. And thanks you for listening. Hopefully we helped, or I say we. hopefully Matt helped you understand how to navigate this double game week and the blank that are coming up. If you did, drop us a like, leave us a comment. It does help us out. And make sure, as always, that you have hit that subscribe button. But whatever you decide to do, best of luck. And until then, we'll catch up with you soon.